Here's Alan Schliemann to give an explanation of faith that leaves me even more confused than before he explained it.
What is the role of faith given that we're saved by grace? Now, before answering that question, we need to define faith and grace. And I also know that there are some significant theological disputes over the nature of salvation, so I'm not going to try to wade into that, but I'm sure I'll still probably fail. Now, first of all, what is faith? Well, it's not hope, it's not wishful thinking, and it's not belief in spite of the evidence. Rather, the biblical definition of faith is best characterized by the word trust. You put your faith, your trust, in what you have good reason to believe is true. And this is exactly what Hebrews 11 talks about.
No, it isn't. Hebrews 11:1 says faith is assurance of things not seen. Jesus said, "Blessed are they who have not seen and have yet believed." Faith is believing even when you don't have evidence. What does it mean to have good reason to believe that something is true if you don't have evidence?
Now, some people like to draw a distinction between knowledge, assent, and trust. So knowledge is simply the information about the gospel, what Jesus has done, and the offer that God makes to us. But having mere knowledge doesn't save you. You also need to have assent, intellectual acceptance that the knowledge that you have is true. But mere assent can't save you either. After all, even the demons give their assent to biblical truths and to biblical knowledge, as James 2:19 says. But notice, this doesn't save them. Instead, you also need trust. You need to put your trust in this knowledge, which you know to be true.
What does that mean? Trust in what sense? If you're already convinced that it's true, what does it even mean to have any additional trust in it?
And to give you an analogy, would be talking about an airplane, right? Knowledge is the understanding of what an airplane is and how it works. Assent is believing that it can safely carry you across the country. But trust occurs when you step inside that airplane and you trust it to carry you across the country.
Yeah, I still don't see the difference. How is believing it can safely carry you different from trusting that it can safely carry you? I don't see how you can believe something is safe without also trusting that it is safe.
It's only then that you put your faith in that airplane.
So is faith when you act on a belief rather than just assenting to it? If that's the case, that would seem at odds with the theological stance that a person cannot be saved without works, that is, without action. Schliemann seems to be describing faith as though it is a kind of action.
Okay, so now what's grace? Well, in short, grace is unmerited favor. It's getting something you don't deserve. And in the context of the gospel, it's about God willing to give you a pardon for the crimes you've committed against him. You see, you deserve to be punished, okay? But instead, God gives you grace. He gives you the chance to go free. Now, you don't deserve that, and you didn't do anything to earn it either. In fact, quite the contrary, what you've earned is the punishment of death. Now that we understand our terms, grace is unmerited favor, getting something you don't deserve, and faith is putting your trust in God. The question then seems to be, if we're saved by grace, which is an act of God, what role does putting our trust in God play? Well, Paul tells us in Ephesians 2 that it is by grace that you have been saved through faith. So notice both of our terms are there. We are saved by God's unmerited favor, but it's through our act of faith, it's through our trusting God that we receive his free gift. So grace is entirely God's work. It's his part. Faith is our part. It's what we do. Now, when I say faith is our part, I don't mean it's our work. It's not considered meritorious for our salvation. In fact, in Ephesians 2:8, it clarifies that even faith is a gift from God that allows us to receive his grace.
If faith is a gift from God, then how is it our part? It sounds like it's not something we do at all. And what role does free will play in having faith that Jesus is your Lord and Savior if it is not you, but your God who decides whether you do or do not have it? I don't know if you've heard, but I do have a Patreon.